the statistics on wealth transfer are quite dismal. It's that idea of the shirt sleeves, and in 3 generations, most of the wealth is not what it was in the first generation. And part of that is in preparing the next generation. And what I've found in my work with families, and we can read about this too, is too often the mindset of the generations that come after the significant wealth creating generation is there's more of a mentality is how do I take care of what's in place or live off of what's in place. And I think that conventional starting point could undermine really the success of what happens going forward in the family story and in the family wealth. I talk about each generation should see themselves as the first generation, and part of that comes from my sports psychology background, which is how you think about your game could really change how you actually play. And so what I mean, why I say that is I think it's a very different starting point that if we can begin to message and our next generation could really own this idea. I use this little story in the book about how maybe we'll call it the patriarch and matriarch, the grandfather and grandmother might have started the business and created a lot of the wealth. And I jokingly say they might have started with $5 and your parents started with $500 and now you're starting with $5,000. But your starting point is $5,000. It's not to look back, it's to say how do I maximize my starting point? I'm the first generation now. I'm not someone living off the past. I might be, from a financial perspective, a little further along, or in some cases much further along, but there's a different mindset that says, how do I live off of this? How do I just take care of it versus move forward with it and say, here's my starting point. How do I maximize what this means for the family, if there's a business, for the business, as opposed to the living off of and kind of preserving. Mm-hmm. So I think that mindset could really set someone into a different way of functioning going forward.